A lot of people want Jesus to come today because they're scared stiff of suffering, that's why. After all, the church has been getting lashed and tormented and stripped and prostituted. There's a little man, some of you read his book, God's Smuggler. How many read his book, God's Smuggler? Wonderful, exciting book. I knew that little man. In fact, I gave him that title before after he put the book together. I said, well, you're God's Smuggler. And he had been over in China. And he said when he was in Shanghai, he noticed men sitting on the side of the road. They'd been for a haircut. And when their hair was cut, they left a cross in the middle of their heads. Cut it, the patches out, left their hair standing up in a cross there. And then they had to sit on the sidewalk. And a young communist came past and hoisted all the phlegm they could and spat on their heads. The church tonight is suffering untold agony. You listen to the sweet little boys over the radio, they'll tell you that the Russians are going to come and burn the country up and they're going to put us into hell itself. But you know, you little darlings, you've been so faithful, you're so thin with your fasting, and your homes are so poor and poverty-stricken, and you haven't 2 dimes to your name, and you're so stricken and helpless, that just out of His great mercy, the Lord's going to rapture you out of it so you won't have to suffer one little stroke. All the suffering is for the Christians in Russia and the Christians in China, but no body in America is going to suffer because we're the most faithful people on God's earth. Isn't that lovely? Well, the man who tells you that is a liar. I know a preacher who was in Shanghai, and when he was there, because he had he was in Formosa, and because he had preached in Shanghai 20 years before and found the Chinese people were in Shanghai, were in Formosa where they are now, he went in to see them, and he greeted them in his eloquent Chinese, and they ignored him, and he said, but I'm the pastor, I used to teach you in Shanghai, and they ignored him. And he said, now look, this isn't Oriental courtesy, what in the world are you doing? I'm your pastor. One man looked up from his busy work and just frowned and said, you're a false prophet. A what? You're a false prophet? Why, I gave you lectures on Mormonism and the other isms. I am not a false. We remember when you were our pastor in Shanghai and you had some maps of the world and some wonderful pictures of the Roman Empire, and you had a marvelous chart on the Antichrist, and you had some more on the dispensations. And you told us that before long we were going to be washing blood here in China, that people were going to cut us down as though we were grass. They were going to rape our women in front of us. They were going to burn our churches and tear our Bibles up and subject us to the most gross humiliation and suffering it was possible to have. But you said, don't you worry about that, because just before that happens, the Lord's going to take all His dear little children out from this. You're not going to suffer. The man said with tears streaming down his face, my wife was dragged out of my arms. And the last time I heard, she'd had 3 children to the Russian guards. My daughter was taken away, and my sons and my children were taken away. You told us everything that was true except one thing. We weren't snatched out of this misery. The Lord didn't spare us. We're living in anguish and suffering. Oh, we're living here now in a little bit of ease and comfort, but there's nothing that can bind up our broken hearts. No money, no creature comforts. Our wives are gone, our children are gone, our churches are gone, our homes are gone, everything is gone. You're a false prophet, we can't listen to you. You better watch it, preacher, because one day you might go in a concentration camp and some of your church members spit on you for saying the same thing. It's easy to stand up and say excitedly, we glory in tribulation, in infirmity, in necessities, and you go home and have a steak dinner this size and put your feet up and watch the Rams play Sunday afternoon and feel that you've really got another star in your crown because, well, very reluctantly you did go to church Sunday night. Not many people do that, you know, and that really proves I'm a saint. Sure does. Oh, brother, we're heading for trouble, I'll tell you. God let these dear people, the darlings of his heart, he let them go into captivity for 400 years under Pharaoh. And then they went in and out of captivity. You'd think they'd learned the lesson, and they didn't. And then they have 400 years, and God never speaks. 400 years, and God never moves. 400 years of ritual and formality, of sacrifice, and all the ritualism that they went through, that somehow it was a form of godliness.